environment, this topic. And during my presentation, if you have any questions, you can interrupt me, ask questions right away, and I will try to answer. So the topic is Transboundary Water Cooperation in Kura-Araks Basin, the challenges and opportunities that we face today. And sorry. Oh. That's it, sure. Okay, okay. So this is the outline of today's talk. First of all, I will present some brief overview of Kura-Araks Basin and the transboundary cooperation in water management in general. And then we'll talk about the existing international and bilateral between countries agreements on water management, and of course, main transboundary issues between the countries of the Kura-Araks Basin. I would also discuss a little bit about the achievements on water resources management in Armenia at national level. We will talk about some donor support projects on transboundary cooperation, and of course, I present the challenges that we face today and some positive opportunities that we can achieve in the near future. So, first of all, if we look at Kura-Araks Basin, it's quite a huge water basin covering some parts of 5 countries and including the whole territory of Armenia. And the total it is 188,000 square kilometers by mandate. And if we look to the next slide, just to present the map of the Kura-Araks Basin, we can see that is totally within the basin, and all the rivers in Armenia they flow either to Araks River or to Kura River. And in the end, actually, Araks River itself is a tributary of Kura River, and both of them they flow into the Caspian Sea at the end. And if we go back, we can see that half of the territory of Armenian countries, Georgia and Azerbaijan, are included in Kura-Araks River Basin. But at the same time, Turkey and Iran 2-3% of their territory within the basin, but nevertheless, if we talk the percentage of the basin area, it covers 15 and 20% of the basin area, and it's I will estimate the influence of these countries for the basin itself. Interesting part is that both rivers originate in Turkey, and as I already told, in the Caspian Sea. So, the Caucasus, the total length is more than 1,300 kilometers. It originates in Turkey, it flows through Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan into the Caspian Sea. It doesn't enter to Armenia, but actually there are a lot of rivers in Armenia which flows into the Kura eventually. For example, the river it becomes Rami in Georgian side and then flows into the Kura River in Georgia. Also originating in eastern Turkey, in Aram province, it flows. It defines the border between Armenia and Turkey, and in the Armenian border as well, and in the Azerbaijan border as well, and then it joins Kura River to flow into the Caspian Sea. So this is the general regions to the map. So we think to remember here that Armenia is highland country situated island in this Kura-Aras basin, and if we have the perception, the right perception, we can make a lot of advantages as a highland country for in terms of transboundary cooperation in water management for this basin. Cooperation, we can in some kind of activities. It's first agreements between the countries, and we have some regional funded projects which facilitate this cooperation and facilitate some joint activities at transboundary level. Important is that these activities should be harmonized with water resources management at national level, and the management of water resources in Armenia should always consider the transboundary consequences of the decision making, and not only in Armenia, in all 5 countries in the basin. So, about existing agreements, agreements between Armenia and Turkey from 1927. It's commission to the use of Araks and Aram rivers 50-50%, and the agreement is still valid. And the water, if you know, the water from Aram river, water from Aram reservoir and Araks, the river is used between Armenia and Turkey, like 50-50 is supposed to use it. And for this, and there are some joint monitoring activities is being implemented, about which I will talk later. Times in 1950s, agreement on joint utilization of Araks River was established, and those agreements are nowadays valid. In some times, Georgia is for the same country, and the most is a protocol of water intake from deep and down the river. Also agreement with Azerbaijan joint use of the waters of Yerevan River. After independence, some between the ministries of environments in 2 countries on cooperation in the environmental field, and the same happened between Georgia and Azerbaijan. This was cooperation in the whole environmental, but mainly the transboundary water issue was mentioned there as well. So, was signed in 2001, and it was regarding joint monitoring in Araks River, both water quantity and quality. Also between environment ministries of Georgia and Azerbaijan, with quite big list of fields to cooperate, because there is a joint shared by 2 countries, and this the overfishing and overusing of water from this lake always causes some conflicts between Georgia and Azerbaijan. I will talk about this a little bit later, but let's come to our country. Let's come to our issues between Armenia and Turkey first of all. So for the recent decade, there is intensive reservoir construction from Turkey side on Kars River. Kars River is the tributary of Aram River, and Turkey is nowadays is constructing reservoirs there up to 280 million cubic meters in volume. And on Aras River, Aras River is planning to build a reservoir for up to 1 billion cubic meters. And these reservoirs are totally in the territory of Turkey, and that is why they does not meet the requirements of sharing 50-50 waters from the Araks River, Araks and Akhunian rivers. But having these accumulating waters before entering to Akhunian and Araks will lead to significant decrease of water quality, water quantity in those rivers, in Akhunian and Araks rivers. There are some estimations that annual flow in Araks rivers decreased by 56%. But again, there is no reliable and scientific-based evidence yet on this, because there will no approved assessment happened yet. So it is forecasted increase of irrigation water demand, because if the reduction of the water quantity in Araks will cause that it will be impossible to intake enough water for irrigating Aram Valley through a main canal, because in summertime during the irrigation season, 5 cubic meters per second water is required for irrigation. And again, it's not true, but some expert judgments that this kind of water will not be possible to intake from Araks River. Yes, please.
So the first bullet point on the Aras River, there's 2 proposed.
Yes.
Am I reading that?
Yes.
One big one.
Yes.
On the Aras Basin, on the Aras River. And so that we can just add the numbers, and that will be the total storage.
Yeah, that will be the total storage capacity. And if we compare this total storage capacity with the 70 reservoirs in Armenia to be built in Armenia, it's just not compatible, because the total storage of reservoirs in Armenia to be built does not even is less than 1 billion cubic meters for all the planned small reservoirs. And in Idlib province in Turkey, it is 1 billion cubic meters. Yeah.
Is there basis, and maybe you'll get to this later, for us to negotiate with Turkey to share these water from these reservoirs with us?
From the basis, because these reservoirs are totally in Turkish territory, and it does not lie under the requirements of technical agreements with Turkey. And it could be negotiated if both Turkey and sign this UNEP Water Convention. I will talk about this later a little bit. But the main point here that Turkey is not signing this convention, because Azerbaijan for the last 20-30 years accuses Armenia of not signing this convention, but actually Turkey itself, they are not part of it. I will talk about this a little bit later. Yes, please.
So you mentioned in 1927 there was an agreement between the Soviet Union and Turkey, and the 50-50% it refers to the water stored in the reservoir or to the water in the old watershed. To the water on the rivers of Akhunian and Araks. So I will show you just here. It refers to the Akhunian reservoir and the Akhunian and Araks river.
rivers, only this part. So if they build a reservoir on Kars River here, you cannot do anything. It just will decrease the water flowing to the Armenian River Basin. And in this province, they are going to build this 1 billion cubic meter reservoir here and 2 big reservoirs on Kars River here. So it is obvious if diplomatic relationships, it could be negotiated with Turkey, but I don't know if nowadays it is possible. So, after Soviet Union collapse, we face accusations from Azerbaijan water pollution of the Transboundary rivers flowing from Armenia. The main policy of Armenia was just answering to this accusation for the last years. Yes, we pollute this by some industry with some mining activities. We pollute those waters. But in order to prove the situation, joint monitoring is needed with Azerbaijani side. When from the same point, from the same sampling point, water is taken and analyzed in both countries in different laboratories, and then the results of this monitoring is checked, is verified, and both countries agrees on those. We don't have this with Azerbaijan nowadays, and we are just accusing us on water quality, water pollution. We're just answering that we don't have enough proof on that, and that's it.
Are they testing the water on their side and have evidence, claim that they have evidence, or they're just citing a big possible risk?
Very good question. They are testing water in their site, but actually this according to the methodology of water quality assessment that we have in Armenia, because they test this water according to all Soviet standards, concentrations of some metals. These are old Soviet methodology, which was the same for any river in Soviet Union. It can be some Yenisei big river, it can be small mountainous river. So they didn't transfer their water quality assessment methodology to European or internationally accepted standards. I did it. So our methodologies differ because when IEP checks the water quality in the rivers, they consider the background concentration for each parameter. It's like European Union methodology, 5 classes. And because maybe the concentration of some metals in the source of the river is X, and it is maximum allowable concentration of Soviet times for that metal for rivers. So that's why for each river it is very important to establish the background concentration of the parameters, and if the concentration exceeds this background value, in that case, judge about the pollution. So in Azerbaijan, they don't do that yet. That's why maybe there have some proofs for these accusations. But since the methodology of the water quality assessment for the same river in this side of border and other side of border differ, we cannot prove or deny those accusations. And this is actually the issue for Azerbaijan, because as a country, three countries, Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, they took this the approach of harmonizing their water legislation, water methodologies and approaches to European Union approaches, to European Water Framework Directive approaches. And we did it in 2017. We have adopted this governmental decision on changing the water quality assessment methodology from the Soviet type methodology to WFT-FD methodology, when we have 5 classes of water quality according to taking into consideration the background concentration of the parameters at the source of the river.
Georgia and Armenia are aligned with the water framework.
Yes. Yes.
But
Not yet, but Azerbaijan not yet, but each time they agree that they would do it in near future in all kind of joint projects, joint programs, transboundary programs. They have this commitment to renew their methodology of water quality assessment, but not yet. Mm-hmm.
When I talked to the hydrometeorological and monitoring center, they said they do measure both the quantity and the quality of our rivers before they leave the country.
Right.
So is it a matter of simply that the standards are different, so you have differences in categories, or is it also that the numbers we're measuring here on the Armenian side, for instance, with regards to heavy metals, concentration-wise, is also different than the numbers they are reporting?
That is different numbers because the methodologies of analysis is also different. Yeah, yes, because an experience in 2012, to do joint monitoring with Georgian and other sites, and to send those samples to Slovak reference laboratory to check, to verify. Even this time, we haven't changed the methodology, but the standards of the experience of the experimental analysis standards equipment, we showed like 80% concurrence with the Slovak laboratory results, while Azerbaijan it's for 40-50%. It was back in 2012. Okay, so after 2021, we face a lot of water safety, because actually sources are located in the areas occupied by Azerbaijan, and also this which is occupied and with Azerbaijan, a lot of drinking water springs, which feed Kyrgyzstan, for example. It's kind of a very strategic and important safety problem, and you never know what kind of water pollution of water poisoning can come from their side. So it's very important because actually it feeds Kechut reservoir, and water from Kechut reservoir flowing to Lake Sevan eventually. Not only problems with Azerbaijan, there is a lot of trouble between Georgia and Azerbaijan as well. This is kind of some content to this, but if you look at this schematic representation of Kura River and flowing to Mirichal Reservoir, you can find a lot of transboundary pressures and impacts from both sides, from Georgia and Azerbaijan. The accusations from Azerbaijan side to Georgia is this Gardaman wastewater treatment plant located close to the border and pollution of the Lake Transboundary, a joint lake sharing between two countries. But in any case, Armenian claims that not enough treatment is being done, and even after the treatment plant, a lot of polluted water flows into Azerbaijan. Situation in our country, as we have joint monitoring with Turkish side from Aram River, but unfortunately in irrigation season, in order to define this 50-50 ratio of water use from Armenian reservoir and Armenian river for irrigation purposes. So I can say that water quantity data is reliable because both countries check water quantity and then they harmonize this number, compare this number, and both countries put their signatures under the volume of the water for that day existing in the Armenian reservoir and volume of the water abstracted from Armenian reservoir and abstracted for Armenian river for irrigation. We cannot say that water quality data is reliable because water quality is analyzed separately in national laboratories, and again the methodology of analysis differs. We have joint monitoring with Yerevan on Aras River, but water quality and quantity, and good thing is that this is ongoing activity throughout the year. Not seasonal, not only for irrigation season. And the Joint Commission, Armenian Commission, works regularly for this monitoring. And from this point of view, both water quality and quantity, we can say that it's reliable data because, again, Iranian side signs with Armenian counterparts this result of the monitoring. So, we have a legal gap in Armenia because the main body which is responsible for the water resources management in Armenia is Water Resources Management Department of the Ministry of Environment, and it doesn't have enough in its charter. It doesn't have anything on transboundary water management. So transboundary water issues are not addressed in the charter of this department. It used to be agency, Water Resources Management Agency, which was established in 2001-2002 in the framework of the first generation water reforms, when these basin management organizations were established in Armenia. I will talk about this a little bit later. But in any case, it's now not agency, it's now back to smaller division, it's now back to department, and it transboundary water issues are missed from their charter, and this is currently the main legal gap that we have, because no structural division in the Ministry of Environment deals with transboundary water issues in Armenia.
So the Water Resources Management Department deals with water policy.
No, there is Water Policy Department in Ministry of Environment separately. Water Resources Management Department deals for regulating water, for sustainable water use, national water use. It deals with the water use permits. The main two tools of regulating water in Armenia is water use permits and river basin management plans. And implementation, of course, of this plan. So this department is responsible for both of them, both these tools, and this is the department which is responsible of moving towards integrated water resources management. I don't know how much. Yeah.
Some people think of water transboundary, but it's not really active.
Yes, there doesn't have any legal regulatory function. I think they deal mainly on these bilateral agreements within countries. Yes. And there is no any discussion or any strategy or any formulated approach on transboundary water management in Armenia. Maybe everybody understands that this is the issue, but nobody takes care because maybe country has a lot of other issues. But there is no any strategy, any word in the water strategy about transboundary management. This is kind of a summary that we probably focused of most existing bilateral agreements and treaties between and its neighboring countries. Leads to water allocation for irrigation season 50-50 from 2 rivers and from 1 reservoir, and that's it. So Islamic Republic of Yerevan and Turkey are involved in this, but for Georgia and Azerbaijan, the only thing on transboundary cooperation is done is just implementing joint projects, donor-financed projects for 3 countries, South Caucasus countries, with some activities on joint monitoring, on establishment of water basin councils, blah blah blah. We'll talk about this later, but all these activities are not sustainable. The only sustainable activity that we have is this water allocation regulation with Turkey and Iran. As major problem the water infrastructure plans by Turkey. Another thing that we face, and it's kind of problematic, that existing agreements on transboundary waters has nothing to do in regard with groundwater issues. So groundwater resources are not considered totally missed, but in Ararat Valley we have the groundwater basin, which is shared with Turkish side, and this is one of the issues which is not regulated even in Soviet times. It was not regulated even in Soviet times, using Ararat Valley artesian basin jointly with Turkey.
Do we know, have any estimates of how much they're abstracting, how much we're?
No estimates how much we're abstracting. We don't have any estimates how much they are abstracting, but we ourselves at national level validate the maximum available abstraction from Ararat Valley groundwater. If it is, it was recently, not recently, in 2019, it was calculated that this renewable threshold of water abstraction from Ararat Valley should be not more 924 million cubic meters per year. But actually, we are using now 1.6 billion each year. 1.6 billion. Yeah.
Threshold is around 1 billion.
Yes.
127. It's approximately 1 billion. We're using 1.6 billion each year. For the
Turkey could abstract that amount. If we don't do it, they will do it.
Yeah, but there is some artesian the aquifers is different aquifers, actually. In the words, we are all exploiting our aquifers, which use water for fisheries, and after this usage, it goes to Araks River and flows to Turkey and Azerbaijan. Yes. Yes, please.
I was wondering, the 1.6 billion water use, it's not a pumped water use, free flowing from artesian pressure. So we could argue that it's just we are destoring previously stored water, and at some point, unfortunately, the pressure level will be so low that nature will only give us what it can give.
It used to be self-flowing, actually. During the last 2 decades, the fish farms exploited the groundwater resources. So out of this 1.6, 850 is only for fisheries. For now, and for this 800 something, a small part, 100 something is self-flowing nowadays. Yeah, most of them is pumped. Most of them is pumped. Unfortunately, it used to be self-flowing. I don't remember the exact numbers, but self-flowing in self-flowing pressure used to be 42,000 hectares or 42,000 hectares. Now it is 22,000 hectares, so it is half, more than half, almost, in the decrease of the area of self-pumping. Of self-flowing groundwater wells. Sufficient water resources in terms of per capita per year. It is 3,100 cubic meters per capita per year, and it makes annually 9 billion. Cubic meters actually, but we have very bad water management. Total water abstraction for 2025-21 is around 3 billion of this 9 billion, and with the water uses of 24% out of this abstraction. So the consumption of the water is 2.2 billion cubic meters out of 9 billion cubic meters generated in Armenia, and generated from other countries, precipitation, everything. So out of this 9 billion cubic meters, the consumption is 2.25, and the rest is flowing to neighboring countries.
$9 billion.
Yeah, it's big.
Oh, the amount coming in is 9 billion, and we're using 2.6 billion of it, and the rest is flows out.
Flows out, evaporates, yeah.
As a GIS expert, how much trust do you have in these numbers and their accuracy? For instance, with regards to total water abstraction.
Very good question. These numbers are based on the statistical committee official numbers of actual water use. And actual water use is being reported by each entrepreneur, by each organization monthly. And these numbers go to Water Inspectorate, Environmental Inspectorate, which used to be under the Ministry of Environment. Now it is under government. It is officially separated from the ministry. But in any case, knowing their habits of reporting, I don't think that these numbers are very reliable. because what is done for many years in Armenia it just reporting the same numbers of water that you have in water use permit, reporting as actual water use. The inspector has a right to go to one company only once per year. With 3 very proud notifying this company that it is coming, he is coming. So in any case, it's very easy to hide the exploitation, the overuse, the actual overuse. This is totally another story, but actually these numbers are official numbers of the statistical committee.
On the report, the statistics.
Billion is being used from water resources. Of course, it is not reported to 1.6 billion. It was a funded project which was to 800 wells during the summer term of 2016 and measured the actual water uses for them. And this 2.6 million, 1.6 billion is actually measured in the field, whereas it is 1.2. It is in the it is 1.2 according to the water use permits in the history. But when you go to the front, in the actual water use, it was only enough for 1.6 billion from groundwater resources. And this is the first Vietnam city drinking water supply annual. So two times Yerevan drinking water supply annual to officially, and then goes to Araks River. Yeah, but smoking fish is 0.7% of GDP or something. It's not big deal for Armenia. It's just for some to get richer and richer. Yes, please.
Downstream the Armenian border, there is a big hydropower plant in Tajikistan. Do we know? Does international donors finance studies there? Do you know whether the inflow could be increasing maybe at their border on this reservoir, or is it something very secret? It's a big reservoir, and I forgot. And a hydropower plant behind it.
Yes. Yeah. No.
So small, very big. No, but the Iran, Turkey, Yerevan's part is
here
very small. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
That's Iran, sorry.
This Iran. This one. I cannot answer you. I don't have information about what's going on in this reservoir.
System, the Azerbaijani never claim. For example, they must claim that the Armenians are sending raw sewage to the reservoir, something like that. Maybe they are representing your
I think the side this issue. During the regional projects, we didn't hear about accusations on this reservoir, from this reservoir. So, let's go to some positive news. situation in regards to water resources management. Armenia is leader in Southern Caucasus, 3 countries in reforming water management. We have now under the second generation reform. The first generation reform started in 2001 with the establishment of 6 basin management organizations and basin management areas. So Armenia has 14 members grouped into 6 basin management organizations districts according to the terminology of EU Framework Water Directive. And for this units, management plans were developed in Armenia with the first cycle of the 6-year basin management plan development ended in 2022. Of course, these all are the requirements of WFD to have those plans, but unfortunately, the program of measures is not being implemented in Armenia due to the lack of the state budget. Only soft measures included in the program of measures, only soft measures were being implemented, but hard measures like construction of wastewater treatment plants or something like that, even feasibility studies for the construction of reservoirs. Well, that's on paper, unfortunately. So the good thing is that government approved basin management plans for 5 basins out of 6, and the 6th one is now in the process. After approval, those measures are not being fully implemented. I think yes, yeah.
This is another thing we're doing is that the problem is funding, of course, financing, the support is a big problem, but there's also lack of human capacity to manage these program plans. Any thoughts on that?
If you consider capacity in the ministries, because as soon as capacity is built for the ministry staff, they leave their position for some private companies. They do not stay in the ministries because of low salaries, because of, I don't know, they find themselves in private companies or international organizations as soon as they gain some capacities. Yes, this is the real problem. Because under the structure of resources management department, they are under this department 6 PMs. Each of them they have 3 or 4 staff members, and it is not enough. For example, for which includes Yerevan city, our 1 million population. It's not enough that 3 or 4 people can control the water permit, can regulate the water use permit conditions. Whether they are regulated or not. So of course, 3 or 4 people, it's very low number, and even some of these positions are still vacant because a lot of people left. A lot of BMO staff left their positions in recent years. And this is problem. This no. The department of used to be divisions under the Water Resources Management Agency. Now they are divisions under the Water Resources Management Department of the Ministry. Yes, yes. The second generation of reforms is supposed to be decentralization of decision making. So for each of these basins, the local authorities could have make some decisions whether to issue water use permits within their particular basin. Sorry.
AI.
Yes, and the AI system should be involved in this. Sorry. Yes, on the second generation of water reforms, but actually what's happening on ground, these 2 or 3 people from BMS, they are just water use permit applications from the local peoples. So local peoples don't have to come personally to Yerevan office. They're just collecting water use permit applications and pass them to the department situated in the Ministry of Environment, and in this department actually makes decisions whether to issue water use permit or not. Yes. In the field of water management, there is a small department water resources management in the Institute of Armenia, and also there is some specialization on hydrology in the department of Geology and Geography of Yerevan State University. Yes, yes. There is something on polytechnic construction and architecture. Personally, I can just say that only 2 or 3 students per year has been specialized in hydrology in the faculty of Geology and Geography of Yerevan State University. This is what I know. Maximum. Per year.
It's better than chemistry.
Yeah, right. Right. Okay. So, it's a small house have been constructed in Armenia, and maximum water we can store is 1.4 billion cubic meters. Water storage per capita is 465 cubic meters, which is a low value for a separate country like Armenia. It is close. This value is close to the value of Iran, but significantly less. And then the storage capacities of Georgia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan.
This is storage capacity only in the base.
Yes, on the basin. Yeah.
That's very inefficient, right? 87 reservoirs for 1.4 billion.
Yeah, because the region of Turkey side would 1 billion. Yeah, there is a geography. We don't have enough space. In this country, we do not have enough space for.
Oh, but there's also issues looking into every time you build a dam, you're completely changing the river ecosystem. So how many 87 reservoirs? That means 87 impacts on river ecosystems. So collects much water.
Entirely true. Yes, you're right.
I'm sorry, and you don't count. In the case of Armenia, you should maybe not count, but mention the volume of water stored in like Lake 7, which is natural.
Yeah, it is natural.
Lake 7 is still managed as a
with the underground intake still managed in some way as a reservoir.
Yeah, this is big issue. We can consider lakes for is it reservoir or it is lake. It's even to the ministry people doesn't have this strategy yet. What is the priority of water usage for Lake Sevan? Is it priority of taking water for irrigation purposes from there or fishing or what? So it's a big issue. Even until now, there are some international projects which develop this Lake Sevan concept. And this GIZ-based project 2 weeks ago, they were presented this Lake Sevan concept which is supposed to be a strategic document on our vision of using Lake Sevan up to 2050. I don't have this file yet, but I don't know what is written there.
Yeah, that's
What is the volume presently of Lake Sevan? Do we know?
yes or no. It's a Google search. It's massive.
Maybe 20 times that.
But would it be and we're assuming these numbers are calculated by methodology.
Yes.
So there's no natural lakes.
It's artificial reservoirs. So then let's go to some donor support on transboundary water cooperation. A lot of international organizations were involved in gaining independence in facilitating transboundary water management for Kura-Aras Basin, mainly for 3 countries, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. And the main activities under these projects are related to introducing the principles and approaches of EU Water Framework Directive, development of common methodologies for water quality assessment, development of river basin plans, also introduction of integrated surface water and groundwater monitoring systems. But not all activity has been successful in engaging Iran and Turkey in this transboundary cooperation. First of all, that they are not interested, those countries. And second, that non-donor-funded projects are concentrated on post-Soviet republics, on providing technical assistance to post-Soviet republics. Yeah, coming. And it is only for the 3 countries, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia. And if we look to the list of these international funded projects, we can see that starting from 2000, there are a lot of projects on technical assistance, on water quality of transboundary rivers, on joint monitoring. There is also scientific projects or see NATO Science for Peace program that was from 2002 to 2008. Projects have been done, but they have been implemented, but their results are not sustainable. The main problem with this project is that as soon as project ends, everybody forgets about the outcomes of that project. For example, if some joint monitoring happened on the Betrami River, Transboundary River during these EU projects from 2008 to 2011. After that, the ministries, during the project, the ministries commits that after the project, they will include this joint monitoring sampling budgets into their annual budget request from the state budget. They will continue this joint monitoring, but each time it stopped after the project ends because lack of money, because some justifications that no budget allocations on that. This is a real problem for all the international activities within the international projects. Because I have mentioned that in 2013, this project's joint information system was developed for two transboundary basins between Armenia, Georgia, the Basin, within Georgia and Azerbaijan, Aram Basin. What it means that on CD, for that time it was CD, it was not, unfortunately, it was not a web page of web-based information system, but on the CD, all the monitoring information happened from the start of observation during the solar times up to 2013. For the River Basin. Also, the project was lasted for 5 years. It has two phases, 3 phases even for 6 years. And the 6 years joint monitoring results were also gathered and schematically and their interactive map, when you can click at any point within the Betrami Basin and find out all the results from all the years of the monitoring, both quantity, both quality, groundwater monitoring as well. But also, and after the project, these DVDs were distributed to all the decision makers, to all stakeholders, ministries, both Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, for the River Basin, and that's it. Project stopped. Finished, joint monitoring stopped. Nobody cares about these DVDs. It's all on the shelf in the ministries. Yeah, see this? Okay, so this is just an activity on the regional projects. And if you look at this list, the projects have a lot of such kind of examples and studies and assessments. A lot of reports were published and provided to decision makers, but unfortunately there is lack of demand for these studies for decision making. I don't know why, but this is the situation, and I think it's not only in Armenia. This is common for all Soviet countries, where decision makers does not rely on the real data-driven analysis. Let's talk about this EU Water Convention. The title of the convention is quite long. It's Convention on the Protection and Use of Transboundary Water Courses International Lakes. But the main objective is to prevent, control, and reduce transboundary impacts, use transboundary waters in sustainable way, and ensure their sustainable management. This convention provides legal tools for regulating transboundary water cooperation in the transboundary basins. If all the countries of the basin is part of the convention and ratified it. In Kura-Araks water basin, only Azerbaijan signed and ratified it. I think Georgia signed, doesn't ratify. The thing is that until this convention is signed by Turkey, it doesn't make much sense for other countries to sign it, because actually both Kura and Araks rivers originate in Turkish territory. But Turkey is not interested in this, because this convention provides some legal tools to enforce this polluter pays principle. So if you have one country, you pollute your water, but the costs of remediation, the cost of recovering this water is much higher than the country can afford. This convention provides some legal tools that neighboring countries who are also interested in clean water to come to their territory, they would kind of participate, for example, in building of wastewater treatment plants in the country in the upstream country. That were not interested in something and ratifying because we are upstream, but at the same time, the Tajikish territories where Kura-Araks originates, they are upper than Armenia, and Turkey is not even discussing of being a member of this convention.
Their issue is Euphrates basin. There are lots of other river basins that would have serious consequences.
Yes. Right. Now, to sum up, challenges for transboundary cooperation. Transboundary cooperation in Kura-Aras Basin remains problematic in other countries, especially in Armenia as well. Stable democracy and there's political arguments to recognize this transboundary problems as a priority issue. Plus, in addition, there is no trust between Armenia and Azerbaijan due to all these war conditions, everything, all these conflicts. In addition, there is no national strategy and transboundary water management. And unfortunately, there is no analysis of the impacts that the recent years developments in Turkish side and also in Azerbaijan controlled occupied areas. What are those impacts, real impacts for Armenia? There is no real analysis on these realistic estimates. These are the main problems. Other problems include absence of data sharing between different ministries of the neighboring countries. In Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, there is even problem of data sharing between the ministries in the same country. Proper communication on water management topics between three countries, and of course this disproportionately high cost to resolve water quality issues, because in Armenia we have this wastewater problem only in Yerevan, and only mechanical treatment is being done in the wastewater plant. And there are 2-3 small wastewater plants in Yerevan Basin, which are more or less operating, and that's it. All other wastewaters goes directly either to Lake Yerevan or to rivers. Some details which was related to kind of technical cooperation between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Of course, no political consequences, no political cooperation on the transboundary water issues. But after this, support by the community is in terms of its non-sustainability. There is enough projects if you count the number of regional projects, but in the case the sustainability of the activities is very weak. Opportunities, first of all, is the general official commitment of our three countries to implement the principles of EU Water Framework Directive. We have signed some agreement, as you know, and there is some deadline for achieving, for harmonizing our legislation, water legislation, according to UNEP-WCMC principles. And the same for Georgia. The agreement is not separate, it's association agreement. Azerbaijan doesn't have, I think, any agreement yet. But all three countries have this commitment of transitioning from separate water monitoring and assessment systems to developing joint approach based on WFD principles. I already told you that Armenia did it. Our methodology of water quality has been harmonized in 2017, but we have still some problems with water quantity because the hydrological monitoring network still is not enough in order to calculate water balances for all main rivers in Armenia. So actually, even within Armenia, we doesn't know the exact number of the water coming into these 6 basins annually and flowing out of these 6 basins annually. I'm speaking about the 6 basin districts, but there are 14 main rivers, and there is lack of hydro posts which could answer to this simple question: what is the water balance in each of these river basins? Some steps, of course, could be taken benefit from Armenian and Azerbaijani side to consider vulnerability of regional water resources to climate change, first of all, and to strengthen trust between the countries, technical level, between the technical experts. This can be the first step, and then officialize all of this. I don't know when relationships between countries will be regulated. In September, November 2022, 2 meetings of experts from Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Moldova took place in Georgia, first in Batumi, second in Borjani, under the EU for Dialogue initiative, and this was the water experts. There were also, I think, 1 or 2 meetings of energy expert group, another one climate change expert groups, just to discuss on technical level possible directions of cooperation, possible projects or ideas. In March 23, a meeting of water experts only from Azerbaijan took place in Tbilisi under the Economic Connectivity Dialogue Service Initiative, financed by U.S. State Department of State. And also in these meetings, there was active discussion between the experts of 2 countries what kind of mutually beneficial projects is possible to implement. Some recommendations from these meetings: first of all, to create working groups in fields from Georgia and Azerbaijan to study and monitor water quantity and quality in transboundary rivers, to synchronize river flow assessment methodologies, to harmonize ecological flow estimation methodologies among the countries, and also to assess the vulnerability of water resources to climate change. To set up kind of information exchange mechanism of kind of web portal on Kura-Araks Basin, all those joint activities could be shared. The results of the joint monitorings in future could be shared. The joint of Azerbaijan, the dam is in our side, and it is not operational, this reservoir, after the Soviet Union collapse, and there was a kind of recommendation to implement feasibility study on rehabilitation of Georgia's reservoir. because this is kind of win-win situation for both countries, Armenia and Azerbaijan, because on both sides there are some agricultural lands communities which needs irrigation from this reservoir. Also, good idea is to develop a joint design, a joint national adaptation plans to deal with the regional impacts of climate change. From national point of view, we've adopted our national adaptation plan to climate change in December 2022. Azerbaijan, Georgia didn't adopt yet, but I think they also have there some drafts. But it is important to kind of make a joint adaptation plan, because the climate change impact doesn't recognize administrative borders. Turkey the cooperation for more sustainable use of water in the region, maybe through the mechanisms of water convention. I don't know how, but in any case, these two countries should also be involved if there is a mutual understanding that Kura-Araks River Basin needs transboundary cooperation, sustainable transboundary cooperation. That's much. Thank you for your attention.